So we actually have to, it looks like, when we do this, do a C at the end. We'll see if that works. Yeah, okay, so we have to include a C. Template code can be very difficult to read at times. You get used to it though. And usually you don't have to mess with it too bad. Like, you read it once and never have to look at it again is usually what happens, so it's not really a big deal if it's ugly as all sorts of hell. Usually you just rewrite the damn thing anyway. So if we have to import these things from like Dashkin engine config base editor, like how it just opens the wrong damn folder again. And this is base editor. This is default editor. Whoops. So default editor. Where are you then? You're inside of Dashkin config default editor? Let's see. What is wrong with these? Looks like snap layers instead of that, so it needs snap layers for all these things instead. Dashkin config default editor. Didn't get it. Alright, well, let's just make an entirely new file then. Doesn't like it because it's not an INI, so we'll just change the output of this thing to an INI file. There it goes. So, we now have a bajillion different snapping layers that we can actually snap objects to. So, if I've got like a bush or something like that, I can snap it to horizon foreground, far background, snap it to immediate background, all these NPC backgrounds, foregrounds, player foreground, far foreground, foliage foreground, far foreground again, far background, foreground, 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 foreground. Alright, so this is the closest. Oh. So you can see we got all these track layers in here. We can put it in. And this is the farthest foreground that a thing can do, and then this is the next one. We got all those foreground layers, and then we got foreground layers. Come all the way up. That is the closest up foreground that we can go. So that should allow us basically to set up all of our objects in these nice little tracks when we're snapping them in there. Stuff that goes way into Foreverland. Horizon far background. That is as far away as you can go. Alright, so we can actually do all this stuff then. You never know why. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it imported. Great. Nothing happened. And it's because you misspelled something. And that's just how it is. So we have all of our snapping layers. I think that's cool. We can also just change the... We can change all of these things. Yeah, and it did add the pluses to all these things, so I should add those back. And we added layers.txt and all this stuff. Yeah, it looks good. Cool. Alright, so that works. I'm going to go ahead and check that in with all the snapping layers. Is today Sunday? Yeah, today's Sunday. Oh, I'm just marking down tasks that I did. Things like that. I mark them on the right days. That way I can track all the data and figure out how much work I do. You know, that sort of thing. gonna see what Adam's up to real quick, see if he's actually still working. Because I'll just tell him there's snapping layers and he can look at them if he wants. So he's just still messing around with stuff? Alright. Well, I'll tell him later then that he can mess with snapping. How come this file is not... This file did not get checked in, I'm guessing. Yeah, it didn't. Alright, cool. He's not getting far. Well, he's working on the t-shirts or whatever still, which I expect stuff like that. He's gonna have fun with. He's gonna have fun fighting. Alright, we got that. Alright, so what do we got next on the agenda? We've got an effect exporter script for Harmony and an effect importer for Unreal. So what we want for the effect exporter is we want a script which can export effects along with data to be able to import to Unreal without trouble. So basically, we should be able to export stuff from Harmony and import it into Unreal super easily, and that's really just the 2D animated effects. So I'm trying to think what would be a good thing to test this out with. I mean, we could test it out with anything, but we probably want some rules. Because with effects and stuff like that, it's probably really easy just to have the origin on screen be the origin for the whole thing, and then just export the effect. And this thing really is just like taking that sprite sheet and shoving it nicely into the game. So we'll see what Unreal has and Harmony has for that, and we'll see. So a script with export stuff, and we need effect import. So we need a button in the editor to grab, to update, create, and update existing effects from import folder, and whatever necessary stuff. Make it simple. Output should be a flipbook, and that should just be like it is. Let's take a look in the editor real quick to see exactly what our effects look like, and if there's anything else that we need to do besides just make sure it's on flipbook. Because we go inside of gameplay, player logic, and we do play effect. So yeah, a paper flipbook would be just fine for this. And that's really all we need is just that sort of crap. So paper flipbook will be just fine for the export. And we'll throw it into... We also want like a category, don't we? So the script for the export... The script for the export should also have something in there. So the script should discover the category of the effect. Should define. Alright, so the script should define what category the effect is. I think that should work. So I'm gonna go on break for a little bit here, and then I'll come back and we'll start working on this effect script stuff. So it should be a couple minutes at least, and then I will be back. So I will see you then. Alright, well, I am back. So we need to make something that'll export effects from Harmony and get them in a form that we can easily import. So we're going to explore how to do that. Let me see real quick. I might be able to ask Adam if he's got one of those Harmony files from the previous animations. So I'm going to mute my audio here real quick, just so I can hear Adam. Well, I'll just have, if he's there, I'll be able to hear it. So we want to go to our art. We'll grab something first here. Let's see, we don't have any real examples or anything else. So I think I want to make like an effects folder. And I want to do like an example effect. And we'll see, yeah, we have like UI and then we have nothing in UI. So I'll just get rid of this UI folder as well. So let's see, would any of these effects actually be anything we should mess with? So nice if I had one of those, but if we don't, then I will need to make my own, which I don't know if I can really do very well. So I probably want to copy one of the existing characters or something like that, so we could like totally copy Fatsack and then turn Fatsack into an effect. See if I can do that. Let's change. I'll actually change the name and save it as a new thing. Call it example effect or something. So, I don't know. Let's just resume our audio real quick. So, I don't know. I guess Adam didn't get my message, or he's doing other stuff, or I missed it. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. We are going to turn one of these dudes into an effect for us. And I don't really know how to use Harmony very well at all. So what we're basically trying to do, let's take one of his animations that could look like an effect. Maybe these running idle. Let's just delete a whole bunch of stuff that we don't need. Well, then let's not mess with this guy anymore. If Adam's actually got an FX thing for me. So I should be getting it here just in a second. Here it is. So let's just unzip this and see what we get. Let's see, how is this all set up? So he's just been hooking in stuff to the display. So let's see, or is he just enabling and disabling these things? I know there's like a selection toggle, there's like enable and disable. But what is it? It's not F9. So we have grid, we have composite. Can I hear him? No. No. No, I turned all that on. Because Twitch doesn't like having all those things open, so. Let's see, we got render preview, display, composite, all these different things with this camera. Yeah, I got that. You got me on Discord, so he can reach me directly if he needs to. Alright. Yeah, I grabbed it. This is the file that he threw in there, which is all the good stuff that I wanted. Display right. There's just a thing there for it. Let's get something that we want. Is this good? Just a. This one's pretty simple. So how exactly do we want to export this? There should be some sort of export blah. The first thing we want to look at basically is if we have this display and we like unhook the grid, right? Like then we've got the thing that we want. So I want it to be like you just grab any Harmony file and we should be able to do something with it. So let's see what sort of export we've got here for Harmony. I know they've got a game export thing. So there's like export to sprite sheets, and you know there's like all these different things that you can do for it. So it'd be nice if we could just, you know, make it easy to work with. Yeah, like 1 pixel equals 1 unit. So if we want to just export this thing, let's take a look at what our scene settings are. So our scene settings are, I'm gonna write this down. Okay, so for export, we've got scene settings. I've got 512 by 512 resolution. Let's see what our alignment is. Our alignment is like default alignment. That's what it looks like. Let's figure out how to export stuff the Harmony way with our sprites. So some issues we're going to run into is like we want to have these questions. We want to have like, how do I limit the number of frames for my animation? How do I change the resolution of the exported sprites? Any other questions we need to know? Where do I export to? And what are the export settings? Because I think if we said, okay, just make sure, you know, the middle of the thing is the middle of the effect, and just, you know, that should be fine. So if we do our export, what's our export to easel.js? It's kind of, meh. Let's just do their basic game export. So our asset path is going to be here. Let's throw it somewhere. Start somewhere simple, like on our desktop instead of export test. And let's see if it's just going to take our current display, and we'll just see what it does with expand sprite sheet. Let's just see what it does. Okay, so if we want to do these, if I want to have like 512 by 512 as the resolution, Alright, so it makes a whole bunch of different stuff based on the sprite sheet that we want. We just want a single game thing. So what did it export for us? It exported sprite sheet with our sprites. So it's got the animation, drawing animation, the sprite sheets. It's got the stage. Does it have the center of the... I mean, it has the rectangle for these things, and then we have the offset for the X and Y or something? Eh. I don't really like that export too much. Let's see what it's got if we do a little bit different. We do like the fixed sprite sheet or something like that. I really like our existing scripts and what they do. Because we have a lot more information about it. Like these angle degrees and all this stuff is just kind of I mean, it at least has only 13 frames here for the thing that it's exported. I don't like that it's got different degrees on the angles for these things. So let's see. These things are difficult to deal with. Didn't export to the folder that I wanted. So this one exported something completely different. This one exported all these sprites. Yeah, still not super happy with it. I think we should probably make our own thing here. Make it so you can add rigging for the middle of the object at least, and read that. And we should make our own little export. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Basically, if it finds a rigging object for a pivot in the middle or wherever the hell it is, it'll set that as our pivot. And we'll use the number of frames that you have on your timeline here, something like that. So you can just like go like that and it'll export that number of frames. And it will export the current display. So let me just start on a script that'll do that. Because I don't know, I'm not too happy with their stuff. It doesn't look like it's super friendly to me. So we'll need is completely separate. This will be export effect. So let's give it a little bit of a different thing. Let's make it an explosion. There's my super awesome explosion art. So it'll show up like that. We should probably also change the export frame real quick, because we're here, we might as well do it. So if we zoom way in here, and we want to make this look like a picture frame or something, how do we do that? We just maybe do something super incredibly simple. We just do it like that. Set to read only. Give me a break here. Alright, that should at least make it look a little different. It's probably going to be just stupid, but whatever. Alright, so this will be our export to effect dialog. So what exactly are we going to do with this? We want this to export to effect. Do we need a name for the effect? Should we have the effect name be something you enter, or should it be the name of the file, or it should probably be like the name of the display that we're currently using. And we want to export one effect at a time, I think. Seems fine. There's a lot of stuff here that's just I need to sift through. How the hell are we actually configuring this dialog?